For 18 years, I raised my stepdaughter, Sarah, as if she were my own. When I met her mother, Claire, Sarah was just a bright-eyed 3-year-old trying to make sense of a world shaped by her father Daniel's absence. He had vanished after the divorce, leaving behind only broken promises and a few half-hearted gestures that flickered and died like matches in the rain. Claire was a single mother, resilient, determined, but exhausted. And when we fell in love, I embraced Sarah without hesitation, heart wide open. A year later, Claire and I were married, and I stepped fully into the role of father. From that moment on, I was there for everything. I held Sarah's tiny hand on her first day of preschool, my presence steady while she took her first brave steps into the world. I taught her to ride a bicycle, jogging beside her as she wobbled down our driveway, laughing when she finally found her balance. Late nights were spent gluing poster boards and proofreading essays. I sat with her through heartbreaks, wiped away tears when high school crushes ended, and stayed up through the night to talk her through disappointments she couldn't yet name. When college applications rolled around, we sat together for hours, rewriting and refining her essays until her voice shone through them clear and strong. Claire and I weren't wealthy, but we made sacrifices. I paid for Sarah's private high school, contributed to her out-of-state tuition, and surprised her with a modest used car she absolutely loved. Every choice I made was driven by love, not obligation. Daniel, meanwhile, drifted in and out of her life like a shadow. He showed up occasionally, often forgetting birthdays or canceling last-minute plans with vague excuses. Yet Sarah clung to him, elevating his image in her heart. "Dad's just struggling," she'd say with a quiet conviction that carried both hope and denial. I never challenged her. I thought, in time, she would see the truth. Last year, when she got engaged, Claire and I offered to cover most of the wedding expenses. The venue, catering, flowers, even a portion of her dress. When Sarah asked me to walk her down the aisle, I was overwhelmed with emotion. "It's always been you," she whispered, and in that moment, I believed her completely. The wedding was beautiful. Claire's eyes shimmered as Sarah walked toward her future, radiant in white. I held it together until the reception, when Sarah stood to give her speech. The room fell silent, expectant, and then she began. "First, I want to thank my dad, Daniel." Her voice was bright and steady. She spoke of his strength, his belief in her, how he had inspired her to follow her heart. The word struck like a sudden, silent blow. I waited, thinking surely she would turn to our table, that my name would follow. But it didn't. She thanked Claire, her bridesmaids, the florist, even the caterer. I was invisible. Under the table, Claire's hand found mine. Her fingers trembled, but she said nothing. I forced a smile, shook hands, posed for photos, raised my glass to toast a happiness I was no longer part of. Inside, something cracked, quietly, irreparably. 3 days later, Sarah called. Her tone was light, almost cheerful. "Hey, just checking on the final wedding payments, the band, the cake, the photographer. They're sending the invoices to you." I paused, the weight of her speech still pressing down on me. "Send those to your real dad," I said evenly, "the one who gave you all that courage. Let him take care of it." There was silence on the other end. Then, "Wait, what? That's not fair." I stayed calm. "No, Sarah. What's not fair is 18 years of love and sacrifice erased in a single moment to honor someone who barely showed up. You made your choice." She hung up. That same afternoon, I called the dealership. The car, still in my name, was quietly repossessed from her apartment. Claire confronted me that evening, her voice low and laced with sorrow. "You could have talked to me first." I looked at her. Would you have stood up for me? Would you have told her the truth? Her silence was my answer. A week later, Claire found an old letter tucked in the back of a drawer. Sarah had written it in high school. In it, she called me her hero, her true father. She acknowledged Daniel's unreliability and apologized if her loyalty to him had ever caused me pain. In those words, I saw the girl I had raised, the one who knew who I was. But the woman at the wedding, she had rewritten the story. She had erased me to preserve a fantasy. Since that day, Sarah and I haven't spoken. I don't hate her. The sharpness of the hurt has faded, replaced by a quiet understanding. I won't fund my own erasure. Claire tried to soften the rift. She was overwhelmed, she said one night. Weddings are emotional. Maybe she didn't mean it. I shook my head. She planned that speech, Claire. She wrote it, rehearsed it. That wasn't a slip. It was a decision. Claire didn't argue, but she didn't defend me either. And her silence became a chasm neither of us could cross. Then, of all people, Daniel reached out. A text, short, casual, insulting in its simplicity. Hey, heard you're upset. Don't make this about money. It was her day. I stared at the screen before replying. I paid for her education, her braces, her therapy when you broke her heart. I gave her a home. You gave her excuses and empty promises. Don't tell me what this is about. He never responded. In the weeks that followed, Sarah made quiet, tentative gestures. She liked old photos online, tagged me in nostalgic posts. There was no apology, no ownership, just breadcrumbs. I didn't follow them. Claire was grieving too. Grieving the family she thought would always hold. Then one morning, a letter arrived. Handwritten, postmarked from another state. From Sarah. I don't know how to explain what I did, she wrote. I wanted my dad to feel important. Just once. I didn't realize I was erasing you to make that happen. I thought you'd understand because you always did. I was wrong. I was selfish. I tried to fix a broken man by breaking the one who never failed me. I don't expect forgiveness, but I owe you the truth. You were my father every single day. I'm sorry, and I love you, whether you write back or not. I read it twice, then set it aside. That night, Claire asked quietly if I was okay. I told her about the letter. She's still your daughter, she said gently. I shook my head. Maybe, but I can't be her father until she stops expecting love without responsibility. There was no shouting, no anger, just a heavy truth we both carried. 6 months have passed. Sarah and I haven't spoken. I've seen photos. She and her husband seem happy. Maybe that's enough for her. Maybe she believes I'll always be there when she's ready. And maybe I will be, but not now. I've learned that love isn't just about showing up. It's about mutual respect. It's about recognizing who stood by you, not just who shares your blood. And being a father sometimes means stepping back, not out of spite, but for dignity. Claire was the first to suggest therapy. One evening over dinner, she gently placed her fork down and said, "We should talk to someone, not just about Sarah, about us." I agreed, though I wasn't sure what was left to salvage. We found a therapist named Ellen. She listened more than she spoke. In our third session, I finally said what I had been carrying. I feel like I spent 18 years building a family that never fully saw me. I loved them, but they were always looking past me. Claire's eyes filled with tears. "I thought my love was enough," she whispered. "I didn't see how much I let you carry alone." Ellen asked us gently, "Do you want this marriage to work?" We both nodded, not eagerly, but truthfully. Therapy hasn't mended everything, but it's given us a space to face the truth without destroying each other. We're not whole, not yet, but we're trying. And maybe for now that's enough.